The City of Maplewood Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, 6 p.m. on October 20th. Let's do roll call. It looks like everyone's here tonight. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Moved.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from their last meeting?
I move to approve the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have new business. We have swearing in of our new commissioners tonight.
Control room, if we could have the actual room and not the presentation on the screen. Well, while he's fixing that, welcome everyone. You want to go talk to him? All right. Yep. And tonight we have some good news. We have two brand new commission members, so we're really excited to have Monica Barton and Mark Harris here with us. And our first order of business is to swear in our new commissioners. And the easiest way and the least awkward way is to have them one by one just read this out loud, and then afterwards we'll sign it. And I did make a little oops, I see. I left May in there from when we swore in Vicky, but on the copy in front of you, Monica and Mark, you have the correct date for today, so it's all official. So if you are okay with it, Mark, I will start with you. And before we do the swearing in, is there anything you would like to tell the commission about yourself? You can share as little or as much as you want, but just kind of a formal introduction to everyone.
Sure. Again, my name is Mark Harris. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I spent 35 years in consumer product sales, which landed me in various places like New York City, Chicago, and eventually here in the Twin Cities. I had many roles in terms of sales, management, and leadership. And other than that, I've lived in the city of Maplewood for 11 years now.
Mike.
I live next to Pleasant View Park.
Okay.
I thought I had it on.
That's it.
I physically live next to Pleasant View Park in South Maplewood, and I'm very much interested in the outdoors. I like outdoor photography and various activities such as bicycling and hiking and things of that nature. I also volunteer at the VA, taking veterans back and forth to their medical appointments. So.
Great. Well, thank you. Welcome. So without further ado, whenever you're ready.
I, Mark Harris, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota and faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Commissioner of the Parks and Recreation Commission in the city of Maplewood, in the county of Ramsey, in the state of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability. So help me God.
All right, thank you. Welcome. All right. And now, Monica, we'll go to you if you can make sure your mic's on. And, yeah, welcome. And if you'd like to just tell us a little something about yourself.
Sure. My introduction, my name is Monica Barton. I am originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, so another Westerner that has come out to Minnesota. And I have to say I love Minnesota, and I'm a cheese curd fanatic now. I have been living in Maplewood for the last 2 years, and I have been living here with my husband and 2 dogs, so I very much enjoy Battle Creek Dog Park with them. And yeah, I think I'll go ahead and read off.
Okay, sounds good.
I, Monica Barton, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Commissioner of the Parks and Recreation Commission in the city of Maplewood, in the county of Ramsey and the state of Minnesota to the best of my judgment and ability. So help me God.
All right, thank you. Well, welcome both of you. And we now have a full commission, so that's great news. All right.
Next on the agenda, we have recreation programming update.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair, members of the commission. This came about, at our last meeting, and I was getting Monica and Mark up to speed a little before the meeting, but trying to let them know about the changes in our department and what has happened with recreation over the last 2 years. And with the task forces that we have, and I can send both of you some information on the task forces to get you up to speed and some of the recommendations and things, so you can have that. I'll email those to you. And then we had a presentation from our Assistant City Manager, Mike Sable. He's left the city. We were in the process of hiring a new one, but Mike, when was here, he did the presentation of, where we are afterwards implementing the recommendations of the task forces. And out of that discussion, there was a request to further dive in a little bit deeper and go over what we used to offer. And at 2019, that was our last at full capacity level with recreation, as to where we are now and what we're offering with the changes and how we're doing things. And so that's why Neil Brenneman, our recreation supervisor, is back tonight to further that discussion. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Audra. Commission members, we'll kind of, if we can pull up the presentation, that'd be great. Thank you. All right. So, kind of as Audra had stated, what we're going to go through is I'll kind of show you in a few different slides, kind of in some charts, what we offered. 2019 was really our last full year of offerings prior to COVID, and so we'll kind of look at it from that year, what we're offering, and then what we're looking at now and kind of what we're progressing to kind of short term here. And then in that process, we'll also see some of the programs that we don't have current options for right now, but that would be something we're looking at, as I had mentioned kind of the last meeting, filling the gap and looking at some future partnerships and exploration in that area. But kind of looking right now for kind of jump into the adult athletics. And what I kind of want to preface ahead of time is some of these we're looking at trying to build the partnerships that we currently have in place that we're able to utilize. Maplewood, for those that are new to the commission too, Maplewood doesn't really have any associations, sports associations. We have NEU Soccer Club. That's Northeast United Soccer Club, that is ultimately the only sports association, youth sports association in Maplewood. So the challenge has been where some other cities have associations that kind of pick up that youth sports leagues and those youth sports activities. We don't have that here, so the challenge has been looking at ways to bring that on, again, not internally, but just looking at partners, whether it's cities, neighboring cities, the associations that we do have, and so the YMCA, for example, too, to bring those on. And so as we'll kind of move through here, you'll see some of these, those are kind of the adult youth programs and activities. So we'll kind of break it down in a few different options. The first slide here is adult athletics. So what I did is I broke it down by the athletics or the sport, for example. If it's currently being offered, you'd see it'll be listed and who is currently offering it. If it's in progress to offer, if we're having discussions about it, in kind of the short term, being able to have that offered. And if not, we're directing them to our programming webpage, which I'll jump into a little bit more and pull it up so you guys can see that as we get through these other couple of slides, and to see the kind of the effort and the time that we put into putting a webpage out there that would allow community members that are looking for activities to hopefully be able to find one in a neighboring community if we're not offering it right now.
And I was just going to clarify, by offering it means actually in Maplewood by a group that we've brought on board, or like the YMCA. Right. But the programming webpage, it could be Roseville, Woodbury, around the community. So that's what he's saying. We'd be directing to the programs they're offering. But by currently offering, we're just talking about what we actually would offer physically in Maplewood. So just wanted to clarify that.
Perfect. Thank you. So as you can see, so we've right now there's the adult volleyball leagues, softball leagues. The YMCA is offering the adult volleyball leagues and throughout multiple sessions as well. And then some of the other ones, like I said, we're offering them or directing them to their webpage. But so youth athletics, this kind of brings us to part of the conversation we had last week about looking at bringing on a company or a partner in a way that would be able to offer, to kind of fill in those gaps that the YMCA isn't offering right now either, so that we can try to bring some sports programming and recreation programming to the community. So we'll kind of, I'm not going to necessarily go down each one of these individually, but you can kind of see where we're at as far as the youth athletics, and working through Rev Sports right now through kind of looking at the programs to offer, and with what the YMCA and Northeast United are offering. We've got pretty good coverage on most of the youth athletics that we've offered in the past. There are some that we would still be looking at developing further, whether it's with a partnership, but or a neighboring city. But right now, moving forward with, if we were to work with Rev Sports, which we're kind of working in that direction, we have some pretty good coverage as far as youth sports are concerned. Now they are different from how we ran them internally, but overall as a whole, those, we're starting to be able to plug in those gaps. Excuse me. The youth basketball, YMCA offers a youth basketball league. They offer a youth volleyball league as well. The fall and spring soccer starter clinic, when we were offering that, we actually partnered with Northeast United for the instruction on those, and so that was a partnership that was already happening, and they've taken that over now and kind of stepped into that recreation soccer gap, and they also offered a fall soccer league as well. Kind of stepped into that that league offering that we were doing in the past. They and we've sent out. We're really trying to work with them and the YMCA on marketing these opportunities to the community. Excuse me. We send a program advertising out via our Facebook page. We send emails to previous participants. We've put the YMCA sports offerings in our Maplewood Monthly. We're really working with those two specifically right now because that's kind of the like I mentioned before, the association and the partnership that we have, really working with them to market those programs and trying to get information from them so we can send that out to the community and posting that so that the community members are aware that those opportunities are out there. And just as kind of a heads up, I wanted to get the information from NEU today because I wanted to kind of relay the amount of participation they had in their recreation offerings as kind of an informational piece. They had approximately 250 kids between the rec soccer offerings and the spring, summer, and fall, which is great. So we're getting the people that want to. We're able to get that out there to them, and it looks like it was receptive, and they had good success with that. And so we're hoping to help them build on that in the future as well. Same with the YMCA and their the flag football and their soccer leagues too. Just really trying to help push that forward with them. We send out just kind of moving down from the soccer. There's the intro to basketball. You see, doesn't have anything on there. For all intents and purposes, the intro to basketball it's a starter basketball clinic. That will be offered. A basketball clinic for beginners will be offered as part of the clinics between the YMCA and also the Rev Sports offerings. I left it in there because it was a program that was called out specific by name, and I didn't want to take that off of there. But just noting that while it doesn't have specific coverage in here, it's kind of wrapped into the sports clinics at the bottom, the various sports clinics for the beginner stuff. Looking at T-ball, we're having conversations about that. One of the other option, the floor hockey league, you'll notice doesn't have a specific call out right there. That is an offering that Rev Sports does offer as well. Right now, we're looking at focusing on what they know that they do with the numerous other cities they work with. That really is a popular sports to try to get started, and we want to kind of start with a bang with that, and then being able to look at that. They offer the opportunity for floor hockey clinics and leagues as well, so that would be an option moving forward. And tennis lessons, flag football and tennis lessons are also something that we have the option there. And the sports clinics are offered by both. The YMCA offers clinics throughout the year, various sports, and Rev Sports also has that opportunity for a variety of different sports clinics, all different ages. And then on here we'll have the some youth programs, our youth camps, and then the active adults information. You'll see this is one that we're lacking a little bit of coverage on here, and we're directing them. A lot of times in many other cities, the community ed ends up offering a lot of the youth programs, not necessarily sports related stuff. And we did offer some of that in the past. So what we're currently is directing people to the community ed page, because they have a lot of offerings in that area already. Tumbling and gymnastics was a popular one, and the YMCA is continuing to offer that one. And then you'll see some of these other ones where some that we don't have coverage, like Jam the Gym and after school sports clubs. Those are things that we offered at the gyms after school sessions. And then dropping under the youth camps, Rev Sports has an opportunity. They have numerous sports camps. They have Quidditch, from Harry Potter. They've got what was the other one I was thinking of? They have sports samplers. They've got a Ninja Warrior camp. They've got lacrosse camps. They've got all kinds of different sports camps as well that we would look at working with them in the summer. The YMCA offers their youth camps, so day camps, and the summer day camps, and then the District 622 offers a lot of. They have different programming for out of school days and stuff too through their offerings that we kind of been directing people to as well.
And District 623 at Edgerton.
Correct. Yep. And the active adults classes, for any general class inquiries that I do receive, we send them to the YMCA and District 622 community ed and 623 community ed. There's on the website here, I'll show you in a second too. We've also called out the communities that do have designated senior centers for those activities and stuff too, so that people are able to get the phone number, have an address, be able to do some investigating to see what's offered at those places that fits them. But our day trips and some of like the pastries and paintings class are something that we would be looking at continuing to either direct to them or look at a different kind of partnership, whether it's a stop for a day trip at like Wakefield or something, working with another group that's got that already has like a conglomerate of other cities that are working together to offer those types of programs. So that's kind of the breakdown of where we're at currently, what we're looking at moving forward to, and then some of those areas that we know we're either directing to outside communities, and some of those we're definitely looking at, or we'll be looking at ways that we can offer them internally. Don't know that all of them would make sense to do at this point, but there's quite a few of them that we still we're looking at. We're really trying to get the partnership up and running and making sure that the NEU programs and the YMCA programs that are being offered, that we're really trying to push those as hard as we can, just to make sure that information's out there for everybody to make those successful as well. So what I'll do, and so the community programming webpage that I had mentioned on on those few slides previous, it's a list of surrounding associations and cities that offer programming. And we reached out to them, and I asked them just to send me a list, and I'll kind of show you. I've just asked to send me a list of some of the sports programming, adult programming, youth programming, and if they offered programs that weren't sports related, we would put on there that they did offer various programming, because those change more regular. The kind of the non-sports offerings can change regularly, and this was a page that we wanted to be able to put up and post and update it as needed, but we didn't want it to have outdated information. So some of that, because that's just as frustrating as not having information, as just having outdated information. So we wanted to try to make sure that we had the access for the community to be able to go to this page, get the link or the phone number to go to that specific site to see what they offer, but also be able to have an idea prior to that of what's offered, so that it's not a wild goose chase. So I may get out of this real quick here.
And we've talked about this website before, this clearinghouse, if you will, but we thought it'd be helpful to actually pull the page up and go through it with you so you can see what's on it instead of just saying the page is there, so. Yeah,
So,
it's got it up on
let me zoom in here a little bit. Might be better.
Make it full screen. All right, if we could have the computer.
If we can have the computer screen up on the feed, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So this is the programming and events webpage. And so as you'll see initially, so we have it kind of broken down by community. I'll start at the top so I don't get everybody motion sickness by scrolling through everything. But so this is, and I'll scroll through it eventually, but I just kind of want to touch on the format of it. So this is the breakdown for, let's say, the YMCA. Each name is linked, so they click on the link, it brings them right to the YMCA sports page. We broke it down just the same as we did on the slides with the programming. Adult athletics and recreation, then we listed the adult athletics and recreation that they offer. Youth athletics, list the youth athletics that they offer. Youth programs and camps, and again, like I mentioned, since those kind of can change with what's popular at the time, and can change more frequently, if they did offer youth programs and camps, we just put they offered various ones that they can investigate that on their own. And then the active adult activities, we'd put in there, and in there would be if they had a senior center, that would be called out in there too. So we'll kind of scroll down. I'll show you a couple more examples. So like for 622 community ed, same thing. But I want to just kind of point out the adult activities section on this one. This is how in the other ones that have these offered or a specific designated activity center. This is what we'd put down there, the phone number, the address, just a brief kind of what they do offer, if they offer off-site trips or not, if they offer indoor activities or adult activities. And then this one specifically called out their community bridge website for adults with cognitive disabilities. And they actually have some sports teams and stuff they do there too, which is kind of neat. Same here with 623 community ed, and then we have getting down to some of these associations. We would list the sports that the associations offered, so that way if someone is looking for wrestling specifically, they can scroll through and see which ones offer that opportunity based on, and they, instead of having to go through each one, and then they can look at, maybe, they're on the south end of Maplewood and you want to look at Cottage Grove, or, you're kind of central and you maybe Oakdale's closer. So there's the opportunities to be able to kind yourself locate, where you are compared to, directionally based on Maplewood, because we know Maplewood's an interesting shaped city, so it's a wide range of areas. So that's kind of was the idea behind the page, is to make it easier for community members to find areas to go or communities to go that if we're not offering something in-house or in Maplewood, they would have to go somewhere else for, that they would be a spot where they'd be able to find it themselves without too much trouble, hopefully. So like I said, there's numerous other cities on here that
Click on one just to take it through.
sure. I'll click on one just to kind of bring it through to see. So if we go to the YMCA, if we you click on the link, and it brings it right to their the sports and programs page, and you go on the sports link. There's youth sports classes. So it's a one click to the next opportunity, and I'll show you one for like an association, for example, too. Same with Northeast United Soccer. So anyone that they want to get to, or they have a sport that, and the hope also is that there may be activities on some of these sites that people may not have even known existed, and that may end up getting them to try something new too.
Like futsal.
Like futsal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the, and then I'll go down to the bottom. I don't want to forget. We also, kind of under this other information here, we have some arts and culture links that we've, our Parks and Recreation Task Force, kind of the follow-up members, one of our members pulled a list of these together for us to post on here. And it's just kind of areas around Maplewood that offers some arts and culture type activities or classes and programs. So all right. So kind of what I wanted to touch on now is just a little bit, we kind of discussed it at the last meeting regarding ref sports, but it was just kind of a quick overview, or just there are some questions too, as about the company in general, and kind of how it would work, and kind of how the offerings would work. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on a few just call out points. The emphasis with ref sports and in general is it emphasize the age appropriate instruction. So it's broken down. 2 to 3 year olds, 4 to 6 year olds, and it's in a narrow kind of age range. So they're able to use age appropriate equipment and age appropriate instruction, teaching them in different ways about the different activities and different sports, and also being able to really emphasize the parent involvement for the younger age groups. They have programs ranging from 2 to 12 years old. Our sports clinics that we used to offer were the same age range. Generally, ours were 4 to 12. So the nice thing is being able to really start to pull in a little bit more of that preschool age group too. That can be a hard age group to find instructors to teach, because it can be a difficult group to teach anything to, let alone skill-based activities. So that's a huge plus too, is being able to have that built-in teaching model they have that they use for preschool too. The fees and the program length and session dates are typical for similar programs. Skyhawks and Rev Sports and the other ones are the fees and the program lengths and times are all typical for that age group, and they vary based on age group. So the younger ones are a little bit shorter, the older ones are a little bit longer, but it's all typical structure. What we're looking at for some first offerings at Edgerton in January would be basketball, volleyball, and then the Ninja Warrior Fitness, which is kind of an indoor obstacle course type, playing off the Ninja Warrior thing, balance and obstacle course, fitness and fun. And for the new commission members too, we did talk about this at the last meeting, but I would want to catch up to. Rev Sports is a company that offers kind of turnkey programming. You would offer they've got a variety of sports and classes they offer, and they offer them in classes, camps, or leagues, depending on what you work with them on and what you want to schedule with them. They work with 26 other communities as well. It's an established company, and it's used by many parks and recreation departments and cities in the area for kind of some supplemental programming and classes. I'll touch on Edgerton. I'd mentioned Edgerton a couple of times. I'll touch on that here in one of the next slides coming up. So that way, if you guys are wondering, for the new commission members who are wondering what is Edgerton, we'll get there. Some of the new offerings that are happening now and that we would be offering shortly. The YMCA has offered youth and adult futsal leagues and futsal classes. So futsal is indoor, soccer is played with a smaller ball, smaller numbers on the court, increased touches, kind of fast-paced, quick twitch soccer opportunity. And that's something that they're having success with in a lot of other YMCA's as well. So they've began offering that at the Maplewood location. And it's, a way to be able to keep soccer going year round as well. So it's kind of a fun, exciting, and a new opportunity for the community as well. And also I mentioned the Ninja Warrior Fitness. We'll be doing more classes and new offerings as well with them, but that's kind of the first one that we'll be looking at offering in come January. So Edgerton Community Gym, it's we have a contract with the school district 623 in Roseville, and Edgerton Community Gym is off of 36 in Edgerton, not far from here. And after school, we have access to the gym for programs and for rentals. And I just kind of wanted to give an update on that. So some rentals that we have coming back, we have 3M's Adult Volleyball League. They rent the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They have been renting with us for many years now, and they took a year off last year, as many people did due to COVID. They're back, and they're offering their league again, and great rentals, great group. That's starting up in November. And then we also have Kokoro Youth Volleyball, who we've been working with for a number of years, at long time. They rented at one of our other gyms that we had, and they've been renting at Edgerton pretty much through. It's been for over a year now through kind of COVID. They needed to expand based on the space numbers and requirements, and they're planning that they're sticking around as well. They're going to be doing Monday, Wednesday, and or Friday. It's a combination of probably 2 of those 3 days, if not all 3, depending on their registration numbers. And then for programming, we're looking at offering classes at Edgerton through Rev Sports on Thursdays and on Thursday nights and Saturday mornings. So ultimately, between all of them, we would likely have programming or rentals at the gym 5 days a week, which between that and every weekend at Wakefield, pretty much, and warming houses coming up, is going to keep our building and facility staff super busy. So, which is good, and looking forward to continuing to expand on some of that as well. But Edgerton is getting back to kind of where we were with rentals or programs in there on a regular basis, which is good to see. So, so that's kind of the rundown of where we're at. I just want to give you an update on kind of the Edgerton thing at the Edgerton situation at the end. Just kind of give you an update on that we're getting that back filled in. And then just go ahead and turn it over for questions if you guys have any questions or follow-up.
Thank you for that very thorough report, Neil. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Any questions?
I
Yes.
do have a question.
Go ahead, Mark.
With the participation in these other cities, are there any limitations that our residents have in terms of participation in other cities?
Oh, can you turn your mic on?
In terms of access or increased cost over programs, or?
Commissioner Harris, are you asking specifically? So those are links to the communities and whatever their internal pricing and policy is for, let's say for Roseville, if they decide to go to Roseville, it's just a link to get them to there, and then it would be whatever their
Yep. Are you asking, so like if there's a resident, non-resident fee, would Maplewood residents have to pay more if they went to a different community, or just want to make sure I understand your question?
I think the question is twofold. Yes, number one would be, is there an increased cost for residents of our city as opposed to, we'll say, Roseville? And secondly, is there any type of authorization that they need to achieve from Maplewood in order to participate in another city's programming?
Sure. And as far as, I can't speak for every single program unless we looked, because we provided a wide net of links, but it depends on the community. And we did away, like Maplewood, we did away with non-resident resident fees for youth programming because we just felt for adults, we did charge resident, non-resident just because of the, tax base for adults, but for youth programming, we didn't, and a lot of communities don't. But it all depends on who the organization is. So I can't say across the board every single one of the links we provide wouldn't charge a non-resident fee, but many of them don't. So it just depends on the program and where it was and what type, if it was a private group or it was a city. So it's hard to give a black and white answer for that. But, and as far as, I can't think of any city where, they say you can, if you're not in Maplewood, you can't sign up on this team. Even when we did the in-house leagues, we would sometimes have kids that lived in Maplewood and they wanted to play with their friends because District 622 covers Oakdale and North St. Paul, and they'd go be on an Oakdale team because they wanted to play with their friends. So I anticipate that wouldn't change, with the associations were happy to have them. They didn't charge them extra. So,
Thank you.
does that answer your question?
It does.
All right, thank you.
Craig, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, you didn't mention anything with Wakefield. Have we severed those ties, or what's, maybe I have it wrong. What's our other community center that we've been working with in the past?
Community center. Well, we had the two satellite community
Yeah.
gyms, and one was at Carver.
Carver, that's.
Because when
yes.
they originally, that was the very south end, and then Edgerton was just to try to make the coverage.
Yes, it
cover
was
the wide-
Carver,
Yeah, and
I just
Carver,
had the
we
wrong
did
one.
during COVID. We did end that relationship, but it was a really good time to end that one for a lot of reasons. They just did a, complete redo of the school, and it changed so much, and and they were repurposing how they did things, and I honestly think it was a good time to reevaluate that contract, and it was up for renewal and looking at what it would be for their space needs and community ed's needs, and then the fact that we weren't doing anything during COVID, it was the time to end that one, but we held on to Edgerton, so we still had a community space to program, but that one is no longer. We did, and they were actually very gracious and reduced the bill that we pay every year as part of that joint agreement to, prorate it for us, so it was really great that District 622 did it, but it was a good time for that one to end for several reasons, so.
On the Carver one, I know they always had the teen dances and stuff there. So is there I didn't see anything for like teen dances or anything like that to keep our teens occupied on Friday nights. That was awesome. We knew they were at a safe place, and I didn't see anything like that in our.
Sure, Chair, members of the commission. Actually, we didn't do the teen dances because the middle schools and the high schools cover that we only, the age group that we went up to was like 6th grade. We did it for the kids at Carver.
Carver,
'cause-
okay.
And we had that, when we ran the after-school program there, we had the building of the kids, and they used to be a larger thing, and then those numbers had kind of declined as we were offering the dances. There were just less and less, and then the cost of getting a DJ and stuff went up. And so to even make them not a big loss, it would be, you'd have to have more kids than you'd want crammed into the gym. And so we actually stopped doing those before the recreation stopped. We switched to Jam the Gym nights where it
Maybe
was,
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It was something.
Yep.
There was something that the teens went to, and it kept the teens off the street, and it kept them safe.
we
and
offered,
I'd
gym
like to
nights.
see something like that for our teens. So
Sure.
we.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually talked with public safety too, and they have a new outreach coordinator again, but where even public safety could come after school hours and come out and play basketball or pick up floor hockey or something, and have the kids go right after school to, in Edgerton Gym and do some activities or something on the weekend. So absolutely.
And then there was one other thing so they're going to be going to Roseville or Shoreview or all these different areas, Cottage Grove, whatever. What about these families that don't drive or don't have ways to get their kids to another city? Have we thought about anything like that?
Sure, Chair, members of the commission. Right now, like I said, we offer those just to show you everything that's out there. But again, as Neil said, we're trying to build up the programming again that we do, working with the Y and Rev Sports. So those programs will be happening at Edgerton or here or at the YMCA. So that's the focus of there is to try to offer programs that are actually in Maplewood. But in the meantime, we're in that transition phase. So right now, there are other communities, and if someone can choose, but that's why we're working toward showing you what's out there, but also building up what can be done here in Maplewood too. So it's not a perfect,
Yeah.
it's not.
I just want to make sure those kids that need it
Sure.
can get there or do something. You don't want if they don't have something to do, they're going to get in trouble.
Sure.
And we just want it available for them.
I have a couple questions. So yeah, the website looks really great. I think there's a lot of resources on there. I do feel like it's a really long webpage. So maybe we could consider, like, if I'm only interested in youth sports, for example, like, is there an easier way for me to figure out, how to find those? But otherwise, I think it looks like a really good collection so far of other resources. The other question I have is around Rev Sports. Is there a potential for them to hire people from Maplewood to run some of these programs or coach? Or do they already have staff that they'll just send from other areas of the Twin Cities?
Commission and commission members, that's a great question. They do have on their website, and that's something maybe I can discuss with him in more detail. They do have on their website a link for being a coach, and if you're interested in being a coach, I do like that idea of being able to discuss that with them and see if maybe we can put something together and advertise that on our Facebook page and see what kind of interest we could get. Because it's a great idea, and I think that would be something that would be helpful as long as they get qualified individuals that want to teach programs. I'm sure they'd be happy too. So that's a great question, and I did want to follow up on something too. I neglected to mention, and there was a question about the youth scholarship fund last time too, regarding some of that, and that's something Audra and I had talked about, and there would be an investigation or discussion on how we would be able to utilize those funds as needed, like we would have in the past. It is a matter of figuring out the best way to do that with city staff and finance and conversation with Rev Sports as well. But just about the best way to I don't know the word I'm looking for, but just the best way to approach that, the cleanest way, but still being able to hopefully use those funds for participation in some of these activities.
Any other questions? Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, everyone.
Looks like we're moving on to unfinished business and nothing. And visitor presentations? Nikki, anything? Commissioner presentations? I'd just like to welcome our new members. Thank you very much. Staff presentation, Parks and Resources updates.
Yep, this is a little bit different update than the extensive one we did with the recreation programming, but I wanted to let you know that, we're still doing the environmental education pieces, and Vicki, that was one thing when you said that webpage is long, because we already we're going to be offering some of our programs ourselves, and we put that on Facebook, Twitter, in the Maplewood Monthly. That's one reason they're not added to that page, because before it was smaller, and then people wanted more information, so we branched it out more, but, it's finding that perfect balance. But I just wanted to let you know of some environmental and community education that's been happening from the natural resources side of things. I don't know if any of you took part, but we did just have a rain garden rescue program at the Nature Center on Saturday, and we were happy. It was a perfect day, and it was a great program. It was just showing how you can take care of your rain gardens, or if you feel overwhelmed with trying to get one going. And so Carol Gurnis, our natural resources coordinator, facilitated that out at the Nature Center. There is a program coming up called Solar Power Hour, and Sean Finwell, our environmental planner, has actually organized that. And it is on Tuesday, October 26th. There's no cost, but they do ask that you register. So you can go to our website and register, or you can even call the recreation online number, which is 651-249-2111 for any recreation or programming questions, and we'll route you to the right person. So that's great to have. And that's actually taking place at the Nature Center. We're really trying to get things at the building and out on the grounds. And any questions on those two at all? And then we have a EAB class that's coming up tomorrow night. It's the EAB, what can I do, with the Emerald Ash Borer, just the problem that it is, and what you can do with your trees, and how you can try to address it, and what's going on with that. So that's another one. Same, it's free of charge. It's just you have to register, and those programs also go toward the EAB class goes toward the grants. We've received grants. We got one that will go through 2022, and then we have another one now that'll go through 2024, where $45,000 worth of funding from the DNR is going toward us replanting trees that we've had to take out because of Emerald Ash Borer. And actually this week, the grant we had the previous year, they're planting the trees this week. So they're planting, is it 53 trees? So don't quote me. I was going to write it down so I remembered, of trees that were removed from Emerald Ash Borer. Residents got to pick replacement trees up to 2, and our contractor is out planting those trees. So, and we got grants to pay for it. So it's a really been a good program. So that is going on with natural resources. We are moving this week. For those of you who remember, we're moving to the Nature Center. It will be Neil Brenneman, myself, Sean Finwell, our environmental planner, and Carol Gurnis, our natural resources coordinator. Our actual offices are moving to the Nature Center, so we were out there today. Neil and I were at our new desk today, and we'll be open. The doors will be open to the public starting on Monday. They'll be able to come in. Again, with COVID and limited resources right now, there's not much to do physically in the building, but the restaurants are open in the front area, and then the grounds have been open this entire time. And so we'll be there to answer questions, and eventually that's where people will go to rent snowshoes, get their permits for Wakefield, for picnic shelters, anything where you need to deal with our customer service. It'll be at the Nature Center, so that'll be a shift, and that starts on Monday. Any questions about that? Craig, go ahead.
Are any of those funds available to replace trees in the parks?
For the particular grant there, not up front, but part of the second round of grant funding was making sure that we're serving underserved areas in the city. So if there are areas that are, and Carol is working on that, it's mostly probably properties if people want them, but if there are leftover trees that aren't claimed, then yes, we can use some of those funds to replace trees in the park. And that's one thing we're going to have to get our head around, is that even at Edgerton, we took out that whole row along the apartments, but there's a whole row of ash trees that need to be moved in Edgerton Park, and it's not cheap or easy, and we'll do that in-house as much as we can, but it's a big task ahead of us. So, and we have the tree fund, but there's only finite dollars in there, and that's what they pay for the tree sale every spring. I don't know if all of you are aware of the tree sale, where you can, so just looking at other ways, and we'll be pursuing other grants if we have, to see if we can get replacements for trees in the parks. But right now, we're focusing on the boulevard trees that they're taking out and trying to get those replaced. But probably a long roundabout answer, but yes, we're always looking for ways to get funding to help us with this big problem. So. Okay, and let's see if and did I mention at the last meeting? I don't think I did. Did I talk about the Lakeshore footbridge at Joy Park? I don't think I mentioned it. So we went out for quotes to do all the work at the Priory to get the new bridges, and we had that contract, and they start that work the week of Thanksgiving. But one of the companies that submitted a quote was Lakeshore, and they actually do docks. They do aluminum docks, and they are just trying to branch out more into putting things in parks and open spaces. And the beauty of it is it's not like the wood that eventually rots and you have to replace boards and that kind of thing. But and I was intrigued enough, and staff were, that we had we call it a footbridge, one of the bridges over the marshy area on the Joy Preserve. Half of it was kind of sinking and boards were not the way they should be. And so instead of rebuilding it again in-house, we looked at the funds that we had left from CIP projects at the Nature Center, the savings there, and asked them to submit a quote of what it would cost to put one there. And we did. They installed one out there, and I'd love for you to take a look, if you get a chance to go out and look, because it has a kind of an off-white cover on the top, so it doesn't look like a shiny dock on the top. I mean, the sides you can see it says it's aluminum docking, but I think it's going to work really well, and I'm surprised at how good it looks, and it's going to last forever. So if this works out really well, and people actually already sent emails saying they liked it, this may be the future. We'll be looking more seriously at putting these in our areas where it's marshy and wet, or it's shady, and the wood just doesn't hold up. They say 20 years, but then it lasts 12 to 15, and then there's problems. So stay tuned. But that was kind of a fun thing to try, and I was impressed with how it turned
And
out.
that's Joy Park by
Yep.
where the playground was put in?
Not very far from the playground. If you just go around the animal, the mystical turtle animal, and
Yeah.
just take the trail, you don't have to walk very far. I can send you all exactly where it is, and you'll see it, and it's just really,
Okay.
it's really nice.
Okay.
So,
Does it need to be removed in the wintertime?
no. Nope, it's just there. So, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around sometimes, like putting a dock, and when you've typically done wood bridges and things, but like I said, I think it looks way better than I thought it would, and it fits very naturally into this space. So we might be doing more of that. And the last thing I had was just an update on the Edgerton Gardens. They're done for the season. Sean Finwell, our environmental planner, met out with gardeners, I think it was yesterday afternoon, just to help them close down their gardens and finish up. It was a successful gardening season. I didn't hear many complaints about people steering. Some years they stole produce, people vandalized it. I didn't hear any of that this year, so people are really respectful of the Edgerton Gardens. They're established now, and people are just really appreciating that they're there. And then just a heads up for our meeting next month, Ellie Paulseth, our finance director, is going to come and give the presentation on the CIP. They'll be, approving that in December, but she's going to come give it so you can see what is on the docket for the CIP, for parks and the city in general, and she'll do the presentation. She does that usually annually, and I was hoping to wait till we had a full commission before she came, and now that we do, the November meeting will be a great place to do that. And then Paige from the Watershed will be coming to talk to you about a potential new rain garden at Pleasant View Park, putting one in that's been identified as a good site for treating runoff water and improving water quality. So, and it's funded through the Watershed, so it would be no cost to us. But she's going to come and talk about what that might look like, and they would do like the first 2 years of maintenance. I think. I mean, it's still in the beginning stages, but she's going to come talk to us about that. So that is our meeting in November. And then I wanted to get a feeling from you every year. I don't think we've had a December meeting, and we usually don't. We take December off because it's so close to the holidays, but I wanted to have you talk amongst yourself to see if that's something that anyone feels is important too. I don't have anything pressing to bring you in December, but just wanted to get no pressure, just wanted to get the commission's thoughts on if we should have a December meeting or not. I know it's a little early to think about it, but. Is it, yeah, anyone opposed to not having a December meeting? Okay,
I
so,
think we're fine with that.
yep, we'll just have a busy, productive November meeting, so that'll be good. Any other questions for me? All right, well, there, thank you, Chair, members of the commission. That's all I have.
Would anybody like a motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, yes.
Commissioner comment. So at Sunset Ridge, we have three really nice swing benches and, that overlook the lake and the downtowns. However, the weeds have grown up to the point that you have no vistas anymore other than weeds. I was wondering if maintenance could do something to take care of that. Okay, thanks.
Anything else? No? Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:55.